All right, and we're
All
live.
right, we're live. So
on this episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking to is it pronounced Waynette?
Correct.
With Dr. Pepper Park, and it's Tyler's joining me as well. How are we guys?
Hey.
How are we doing tonight?
How are we doing tonight?
Not too bad.
Thank you.
So, I did have a couple of questions
as far as
your background.
I did try looking
through some of the
some of the stuff that you sent me invites to, as far as like I think it was like a
motivational
speaker type page.
How did you come to start
the Dr. Pepper Park?
Well, I actually opened
Sponsor Hounds
is the first company that I started 15 years ago, and I decided to open my own business. I was working for a group of radio stations for years, and I had created a number of events for them, and decided that was my passion, and that I wanted to produce festivals and shows and concerts. So I opened up Sponsor Hounds, and we used to do events at Elmwood Park, and Salem Civic Center, Roanoke Civic Center, middle of the street, wherever. We could do events everywhere, and we even did a big conference in New Orleans. But I had identified early on in that business model for us to be sustainable. We needed to build our own, that we had control of the schedule, that we would be able to route artists and have a better opportunity to attract talent to Roanoke Valley. So that's how Dr. Park came to fruition. I started searching, and it took about 4 years before I found Bridges Development, and that were very and didn't go through for whatever. As you can imagine, had a lot with that sort of thing. When we found it, we talked to the developer, and we were able to the length that the park on now.
Nice. I can hear you typing.
Tyler.
Oh.
There was just a little
bit of feedback.
So you guys have a lot of tribute bands that come in over there. I know you got some other things going on. But what all do you guys offer other than the bands? Is that pretty much what it is, or festivals and things?
Actually, we have a tribute series, and it's not the majority. It's probably 35% of the entertainment that we bring in. Really, Dr. Pepper Park was built with our tribute series because at the open, we are not public funded. We're privately owned. So it's community supported, and we had really built our audience, and from affordability standpoint, we covered the national and the risk that went along with that. So we started off with a lot of festivals, and our tribute, which is called Flashback Fridays. We have another tribute series that's called which is the same thing. Fridays, but it's returning artists that were very popular, sold kits, and everybody wanted to get again. So that's called Flashback Rewind. And then we bring in a number of national acts as well. I mean, last year had Ashley McBride, and Kip Moore, and Aaron Lewis, Johnson, and Blackberry Smoke, and on. We produced over 26 concerts, and of course, we established, created, and we execute the Roanoke Wing Fest, which is Roanoke's largest one-day food festival, and this will be the 13th year for that festival, and that's really our only festival that we do at this point. So we're primarily tribute artists and national acts. And we've got a huge lineup so far this year. We're announcing 2 to 3 concerts each week, and we've been doing that since the beginning of December. So we had a season pass sale on Cyber Monday, or sorry, Black Friday through Cyber Monday. So then we sold a ton of season passes. Everybody was really excited. It was such a great value. We still have season passes available. And then, of course, we're announcing all of the shows now, and there are individual tickets on sale as well.
Nice. Now, I've not ever been down there, but I've seen videos and whatnot about the patio that you guys have. We wanted to go to the last Wing Fest. It just didn't work out for us.
Well, that's okay. You still have this year.
That's right. Are you guys sponsored by Dr. Pepper at all, or is that just...
Yes, correct. Very, very proud of that partnership. Of course, Dr. Pepper, the brand, the original bottling plant was located in Roanoke on McClanahan Street in South Roanoke, in close proximity to Dr. Pepper Park. And Dr. Pepper only sponsors 2 venues in the entire world. Of course, it's a it's a global company, and so we're very, very pleased to say that Dr. Pepper Park is one of 2 facilities that they sponsor. The other one is where their corporate office is in Waco, Texas, and so Dr. Pepper Park, that came to be because I went in and talked with Pepsi Beverages about becoming our beverage partner. And they introduced me to the regional director for Dr. Pepper, and I told him what we were going to be doing and building. So when we made the initial announcement at a press conference, we were able to name it right away, so that it was not called something different, and then we had it sponsored after. That was really important to me, because I think that people, that grew up in the Roanoke Valley, like, they'll always call a building whatever it is they grew up knowing it to be. And I didn't want to have to rebrand it and change it because it was a new facility, and we wanted to have location awareness. And we knew that everybody loved Dr. Pepper, so we hoped that association, they would come to love us as well. So it's been a wonderful partnership. They've signed 2 contract extensions thus far, so they're very, very happy with everything that we're doing, and it's a really great partnership.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that they didn't sponsor very many people at all.
Yeah, that's not like like FedEx. They've got FedEx Field. They go around and sponsor a lot of venues, or like cell phone companies, for instance, like Verizon. They sponsor a lot of things. So it's really, really special, that they sponsor a venue in the Roanoke Valley. They care very deeply about everybody here, and all of the support that our community has given Dr. Pepper, the brand, for so many years. Of course, we also produce Dr. Pepper Day. The city of Roanoke declared it Dr. Pepper Day officially on 10/24, which every year it's on October the 24th. And you may know about the clock, the big iconic sign downtown Roanoke, the Dr. Pepper clock that says 10, 2, and 4. So that's why we do it on that day. And that comes from an old marketing campaign. I believe it was from in the 50s. And Dr. Pepper was basically advertising that you should I think the slogan was grab a bite to drink at 10, 2, and 4, because those were the times of days that medical studies have shown that that's when your energy level dips, those times of the day. So that was the advertising slogan, and that's why the clock is missing all the numbers. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not.
I did not. I've always been curious about it.
Yeah, it's like, why are these numbers missing? I didn't know either. Until we began our partnership here. Dr. Pepper gives away thousands of T-shirts and free product, free Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper Cherry. all kinds of different options there that you can pick, and we do that in downtown Roanoke at Market Square. It's always on the 24th. It doesn't matter. It's always on October 24th. Doesn't matter if it's a Saturday or a Monday or a Wednesday. It's always on the 24th because, that's the day that the city's proclamation declared it officially Dr. Pepper Day. And that's Dr. Pepper's way of really thanking our community specifically for the love of the brand. I don't know if you know this, but the Roanoke Valley was #1 for Dr. Pepper consumption for many, many years per capita. We're still really, really close and really way up there. But that was always something that Dr. Pepper really appreciated, that our community supported the brand so much.
Yeah, that's always really cool. A little bit of backstory on myself. I actually worked in the old Dr. Pepper plant for a few years. It's an automotive shop now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. We over where I guess they bottled them if you're standing in front of the building, the left side,
Right.
they were putting up flame retardant roof inside. And we found old bottle caps that had been up there in the rafters for a very long time for Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew.
That's cool. That's awesome. Well, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the building itself, but certainly Dr. Pepper Park and our location at the bridges was very appealing to them, since it was so close by. You had mentioned sponsors, so we're community supported, obviously, and then we're also supported by local businesses and regional and national businesses that sponsor our many, many events, our concert series. We have a lot of different sponsorships that can help to accomplish a number of event marketing goals for companies. So we are event marketing experts. So it's one of the ways that we are able to afford to do what we do. And we are going to be announcing tomorrow, actually, a big partnership that we have with Northwest Ace, and they're going to be sponsoring one of our big concert series with our national acts, and we're really super excited about that. And they're also sponsoring the Roanoke Wing Fest 2022, and they have sponsored that event for several years. And so we certainly appreciate their continued support of Dr. Pepper Park. And again, we just, we couldn't ask for better partners in this. And they love their community and they love what we do by bringing music to the Roanoke Valley. And so we're really excited to start announcing those shows.
When is Wingfest coming up this year?
We haven't announced the date yet, but we can go ahead and announce it right now. It is August the 20. Is it the 28th? August the 27th, I believe it is. On that Saturday, and it's from 12 until 7. And when we announce it, tickets will go on sale shortly thereafter. And if you buy tickets in advance, they're just $5. Kids 12 and under are free, and it's $7 at the gate, and you get live music all day. Of course, we have our big cornhole tournament, lots and lots of games, a kids area. I think last year we had upwards of 60 or 70 vendors, lots and lots of vendors. Unfortunately, last year was the hottest day like on record, I think, for the several summers. So it was supposed to be sunny and 80 degrees. And the next thing you know, the temperature just spiked. And I think the heat index was probably 101. It was a very, very warm day last year, but it didn't rain and we had lots of sunshine. So we're hoping for that again this year. Lots of sunshine.
Absolutely. As far as some of the acts that you guys have had in the past, what were some of the bigger, I guess, concerts that you guys have had as far as sales wise and just crowd wise, would you say?
Well, last year we had Jamie Johnson was close to a sold out crowd. Aaron Lewis sold out. and I can't remember. There was another sold out show. I can't remember. We had Tesla, Blackberry Smoke, Ashley McBride, Kip Moore, Michael Ray. We were having all summer at least 3 shows a week in some cases. So we were definitely tired by the end of the season, and we're going to have the same season. If you check out drpepperpark.com, you can also or Dr. Pepper Park at the Bridges on our Facebook page, you can look at all of our past events. This is our 8th year that we've been producing concerts in the Roanoke Valley over at the at Dr. Pepper Park. So there are so many events. I have to tell you, I don't even think I remember all of them. And I don't have a list prepared, but I can tell you what we have going on so far this year.
Absolutely. What I do know a few things, but I can't remember the names of the bands that you have coming.
Sure. I know that the podcast is going to air on the 9th, so I can tell you a lot of things that maybe you haven't heard announced thus far. So this is just what we've announced so far. And again, we are announcing, we have at least one and many times 2 to 3 concert announcements per week, which is pretty labor intensive. I should mention, and also give our team a lot of credit for that. It takes like no less than a week to get a show planned for marketing and advertising, and getting the ticket system built. It's very, very intense. So when we have 3 show announcements in 1 week, like we do this week, we're all pretty daggone tired. It's a lot of 14-hour days. So it's not just a seasonal business, it's year round. So we've already announced several of these shows. Some of them will be announced after we talk this evening. But in May, we're going to be announcing May 7th. We've got Granger Smith coming to town, and that is part of the Northwest Ace concert series, summer concert series. And then on June 10th, we have our Flashback Rewind artists, Dean Ford and the Beautiful Ones. And of course, that's a Prince tribute. Super excited about this show. Due to COVID, his show was canceled in 2020. We weren't able to get it rescheduled in 2021. And he has played Dr. Pepper Park before, and it was amazing. You would think that you saw Prince in concert. He's so incredibly talented. So everybody was disappointed that it got pushed back 2 whole years. So I know everyone's excited to come see that. What a lot of people don't know is that Dean Ford, who is the Prince tribute artist, has his own music as well and his own band. So his band is going to be opening. He's opening for himself. So that's going to be pretty cool. Everybody can see him without his makeup and costume, and then they'll be able to see him come back on stage as Prince. So that's going to be pretty neat. June 11th, we've got, I know you guys are excited about this show. We've got Cinderella's Tom Kiefer, LA Guns, and Faster Pussycat. So 3 big, huge rock bands on one night on Saturday, June the 11th. And of course, that is also part of our Northwest Ace Summer Concert Series. On June 17th, we've got Southern Rock Superstars, The Outlaws. And then on June 18th, we've got Andy Grammer, and we're really excited about that. We've never done anything like Andy Grammer's type of music. And so we're really excited to see how that does. Everybody I've talked to that I'm allowed to tell about the show has been really excited about it. So we're looking forward to that one. And then July 16th, we're bringing in Quiet Riot. And then July 22nd, we've got another Flashback Rewind installment, which we just announced, which is our Fleetwood Mac tribute, Rumors, from Los Angeles. They fly in from Los Angeles each year, and they deliver a spectacular performance. That show usually sells out and is our most attended concert each and every year. And so people are always excited to welcome them back. And it's pretty cool since we are kid friendly. You can look out and see like 3-4 generations in one family sitting together and enjoying the concert. So A lot of families come out for that show. And then on July 23rd, we're bringing in Aaron Lewis and the State Liners. And again, that show sold out last year, so we're excited about him returning. That's also part of our Northwest Ace Summer Concert Series. And August 12th is Flashback Friday. So this is a new act that's coming, and this is a 2-for-1 tribute night. So we have Elton John and Billy Joel tributes on the same night, and they even come out and perform together with like dueling pianos type of thing, and it's going to be really exciting. We've sold a lot of tickets to that show so far. And then September the 2nd, we're bringing in Bee Gees Gold as part of our Flashback Fridays. And this is an amazing Bee Gees tribute. They actually have a Las Vegas residency, and they're very, very difficult to get and difficult to get them to travel. So we're building a huge event around them coming to Roanoke, and it's going to be a great 70s night with a costume contest and just so much fun. Everyone loves the 70s. And then lastly, as far as shows that we've announced thus far, certainly not the last of the shows that we're going to be announcing. We'll probably end up somewhere around 30 shows this year. That's what we're shooting for. And so we've got September the 23rd, Flashback Fridays, Us and Floyd, which is a Pink Floyd tribute. And they're based out of New York City. And they have an amazing laser light show. And that's actually it was rescheduled from last year. So everybody's really excited that they're able to be rescheduled and to come in September. And we haven't announced any of our shows yet for October. So many more to announce for the rest of the season. So we're operational because we're an outdoor venue May through October. And then, like I said, the rest of the year, we're just working on talking to potential sponsors and getting the shows ready to announce and working very hard on booking. And it's all just a labor of love so that we could bring all this music to our wonderful community.
And that is absolutely amazing. I know my dad's really looking forward to the Bee Gees cover band.
Yeah, they're great. And I mean, I got really excited too when I watched that Bee Gees documentary. I don't know if you guys have seen it. That's kind of those were the years when I was growing up, going to the skating rink or whatever. I love, love, love the Bee Gees. And so it's a pretty cool documentary, and it got me really excited about seeing them because, of course, I never got to see the Bee Gees, but I did get to see Andy Gibb in concert, but I never got to see the Bee Gees. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And I think everybody just loves the 70s. It was just a fun time. So that's going to be a great show. So tell your dad thanks. I'm glad he's coming.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely will. Are there any artists that you haven't gotten yet that you would want to be able to get them?
Yes, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because it is very, it's a competitive little town musically. So if I know of something, I'm very intuitive because I do listen to my community. I am there at each and every concert, and I am talking to people, serving beer, and I'm listening. They come up to me, they tell me what they want to see. We know what works. And so there have been several artists that we've been targeting. So one of them, most recently, I've had offers in for the past 4 years, and I just found out that I lost the show. So I'm pretty sad about that. Hopefully we'll be able to get them booked at some other time. But yeah, there are a number of artists that I'd really like to get to come to Dr. Pepper Park, and sometimes it's routing. They're just not coming to the East Coast, or sometimes it's just the cost and our capacity because we're not a large venue, so we have to make the numbers work. And of course, the artist, they've got a limited amount of dates that they can play, and they want to, they need to make as much money as they can as well. So it's a delicate balance. We have to make sure first that our community wants it and that it's going to be well received, and that it definitely, fills the niche and really reaches that need in our community for what everybody wants musically. And then it has to make sense financially for us. And then, thirdly, even if all of those things work, then we have to, convince and entice the artist to come to our venue. And there's a lot of work, a lot of behind the scenes that goes into that. So we're thrilled that the artists that we've been getting at Dr. Pepper Park love it there and they want to come back. I've had so many compliments from the national acts and from the tribute artist as well, that they're like, man, Roanoke is my favorite place. Everybody just has such a good time, and we're so close to them while we're on stage. It's really intimate. And I think what we've built as a team there at Dr. Pepper Park is just a really cool place to hang out, listen to great music. It's beautiful there, right by the river. You can see, the Mill Mountain Star at nighttime. It illuminates. And, what I've noticed that's really unique about our venue compared to some other venues that I've attended concerts, a lot of times you get to the concert, you just sit down, you stay in your seat. If it's general admission, you're kind of afraid to leave your seat because somebody's going to take it. So you don't really have that freedom to go around and socialize. So what I find is that like our venue is just very, very social, and people are together talking. Sometimes I see people talking like the whole concert. I'm like, didn't y'all want to listen to the music? You bought a ticket. But it's nice because there have been so many friendships formed there, and I'll go up to people that like I'll know both of them, and I'll say, how do you guys know each other? And they're like, oh, we met here. Like, we're fans of Dr. Pepper Park too. So it's really nice when you see that happening, and it makes you feel good that you've created something that people enjoy.
Wow, that's amazing. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you have of past act in the past that was just an absolute favorite? Not necessarily, as far as like picking favorites, just everything just worked out great. Everything, all that.
There's so many. Those days are rare. So there are a lot because we've had a lot of concerts. So in all fairness, I'm an old people, so I'm just kind of relying on my memory. So if I had to say, my most favorite show from last year, from artist, their crew, their production, their tour manager, everything about the day, the audience, the night in general, just the whole day, start to finish. My most favorite day last year was Ashley McBride. And it was just like her, you could tell that um, she's such a positive and loving person, and she just exudes that. And her whole staff um, is exactly the same way. And they're just so, so nice. And I'm such a big fan of Ashley's anyway. So it was nice. And I had told her, that I was a big fan, and really appreciated her coming. And I try not to, take up a lot of their time. And so when she went to do the sound check, and usually that takes about a half an hour, start to finish, with a national act. And many times the lead singer may not even come out and do their own sound check. And if they do, it's very, very short. They might try snippets of this song and that song, but it's pretty short. But she knew that I was a big fan, and she knew that our team really loved her. So she really put on like a mini concert for us, because we're working so hard during the concert, we don't get to enjoy a lot of the show. And so it was really nice to just stand there and hear her amazing voice. And then after the show, she stayed and met like every person that wanted to meet her or get their picture made with her. And she stayed really, really late. She would not leave until every single person that wanted to meet her met her. And that's pretty exceptional and rare.
Yeah, you don't find that too much where somebody will do that, or a group of people will do that. Um, if you had to, not to say that any of the past acts were difficult to deal with, but were there any that were particularly somewhat difficult to get or to handle while you guys had them at the venue?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I can't give out names obviously because of liability. But what I can tell you is that sometimes I've deleted the artist entire playlist from my Spotify account as soon as I see the taillights of that truck running out, going out the front of the venue. Like, I never want to hear their song again. Sometimes it's like that. Some days are tough. We don't really talk about that much. Sometimes it's, different people's personalities. Some are demanding, but, for the most part, most of them communicate their needs, and, we take care of them and make sure that they have a very easy day. But yes, there are some artists that have played that I never want to hear their record again. So it's just one of those things. And it may not even be the artist. It may not be the person that's performing. It may be somebody that worked for them that, made the day more difficult than it needed to be. But that's just, that's life in general, isn't it? Like, sometimes in any profession, there are people that are not your favorites, that may be a little bit difficult to deal with. But I won't name any names, but anybody that's in the music business will probably tell you the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has an off day every once in a while, and most everybody has bad days.
Yep. Yep. That's true.
Are there any things you guys would be up to doing other than, like the Wing Festival or the concerts you guys put on, as far as maybe new things to come to Dr. Pepper Park?
Like such as.
I mean, different kinds of, whether it be festivals or having like comedy acts come in, or I wouldn't really say like tribute bands sort of, but like the Weird Al kind of people who make fun of other people's songs and turn them into parodies kind of thing.
Yeah, we actually I think he is actually coming to Roanoke this year. I believe he's coming to a venue here. Um to be
To be
honest with
honest,
you, outdoor venues don't really do well with comedians. They don't like to perform at outdoor venues, and they can't control the room, so to speak. It's a different environment for comedy, and I've asked several people, and what I've learned is that it's not a good dynamic, and most of them, like Weird Al would definitely, he's musical, so he would definitely come to Dr. Pepper Park. But just like stand-up comedians, it's not going to be something that's their favorite. There are a couple exceptions to that I think would work really well at an outdoor setting, but they're not affordable for us, unfortunately. So yeah, it's been considered. For me, from a production standpoint, it's a lot less production, obviously, than a band. So it's just the sound and a microphone. So it's pretty easy, less expensive, but unfortunately, they don't really like that. And just some things don't do well at outdoor venues. Like, I wouldn't see us doing something like, for instance, like the Celtic dancers, or any type of theater production. Those are just better suited for like an indoor venue. They just work better there, and that's what they're used to. And they're not used to like rain or shine. Could be raining on you while you're out there dancing. So some things we know just, inherently don't work, at an outdoor venue. As far as programming the park more frequently than we do, we are a very small staff. So it's a very extensive work schedule when we're in season. We have a lot of different really neighbors to be considered when we're producing shows. Of course, the Carillion Sim Lab is right there on site, South 16, and lots of other businesses in close proximity in the neighborhoods. So we don't look to create an event every day of the week. We just like to do what works and on days that we know will work. So we don't look to do things on like Monday nights or whatever. We don't, rent the facility out because we are privately owned. So it's not something like, Elmwood Park where they may rent it to a nonprofit for a fundraiser, and then, they may have a concert there the next night. It's just not that type of venue. That's just not our business model.
Right. And I can see how that wouldn't work well, for a lot of that. As far as the production standpoint of things, how, when you find somebody that you want to go after to try to get set up for the venue, what does that process look like as far as channels you have to go through, how far in advance you have to get in touch with the band, uh, or their manager?
Well, I can't share all my trade secrets because, I've spent years figuring it out, right? So it's pretty extensive. We sometimes we're putting in offers a year or 2 years in advance. So it's not something that happens overnight. It's funny because I'm like one of the most impatient people in the world, and that whole part of the business is a patience game. You've got to figure out again, is it needed in our community and can we afford it? And then thirdly, will they come play for us? And then, then we start the process. What I can tell you is that one of the most important things with our business and any business really is to manage expectations, very closely. And so part of that process is we have a wonderful, extensive tech pack for Dr. Pepper Park that we send along with the offer. And it showcases what our venue looks like, what amenities we have, and what we don't have. And, we don't have indoor dressing rooms for artists. We don't have a green room. We don't even have an air conditioner. We operate like with nothing. The only electricity we have is for the stage. And, when you look at artists, the level artists that we're bringing in, they're playing really big arenas that have all the bells and whistles and, showers and a green room and in house catering and all of these things. So it's very important that we communicate to them what we have and what we don't have, and then how we're going to overcome any challenges that we have so that they have a wonderful day. A lot of it, we try to overcome with our hospitality and, managing their expectations and finding out like what's truly important to that artist. And one story that I can share with you because it's a great story. I was talking with the tour manager for Night Ranger. So one of my many hats that I wear is I advance the shows with the tour managers and the production team. So what that involves is basically from the time they pull up at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever time they're getting there, their hotel stays, the daily schedule, when they're going to eat, when we're going to unload things to put it on the stage, and when sound check is. I mean, there are a lot of things that we have to go over. So on this one occasion, I was on the phone with the tour manager for Night Ranger, and I said, "Hey, one last question. What's the most important thing that I can do for the band that's going to make you look good and is going to make your ride home really easy?" And he said, "Oh, I'm so glad you asked me. It would be great if you could bring a blender." And I was like, "A blender?" And he goes, "Yeah, they have to have a blender." And I thought, well, that's strange, because they come on tour buses, which are really, really nice tour buses, and a blender is $15. And I thought, well, why wouldn't they have a blender? So I said, that's no problem. So I remember like writing that really big on the front of the folder for the event day and to remind myself to bring my blender from my house. So I brought it, and for that particular show, we had some indoor amenities for them for their catering, and we had all this great catering from Bella Events, which is our official caterer of Dr. Pepper Park. And I thought, well, they're going to be so impressed with us. Look at all these things, and it's everything they asked for. And then I set the blender up on the counter, and the band came in, and there's 5 of them, and next thing you know, they're all just making a beeline for that blender. And you're probably thinking they were making some sort of tropical drinks, but they weren't. So Jack Blades, the lead singer, he starts jumping up and down and clapping, and they are just giddy like 4-year-olds on Christmas morning. They're so excited about this blender. And so apparently they love to make smoothies, protein shakes, and all that kind of stuff. And they were so excited. And I remember that the tour manager thanked me at the end of the night for remembering to bring the blender because everybody was so happy. And so it just makes me laugh because it's just like something so small that made such a big difference in everyone's day. So that's, really important to us when we're communicating with artists to make sure what's important to them. And, you know, it could be like they want to go to the gym. They want a gym to go to work out at, or it could be like they have to have a certain type of food, or they have special dietary restrictions. Whatever that is, we make sure that we, are communicating that and telling them what we can do and what we have to offer. So there's a lot involved, for sure.
It definitely sounds like it. So in regards to stuff that you yourself have going on, I know you have your hands in a lot of different pots. What do you have going on that's new for you?
Oh, thank you for asking. I just launched my new business called Grace and Grit. And it's a public speaking business. And I go around and talk with groups. I've got 3 signature speeches that they can choose from. And a lot of it is about Dr. Pepper Park or my experiences in my professional career. And each speech is really geared towards which audience I'm speaking to, whether it's a group of, business owners, or if it's, a bunch of different people, male and female, with various levels of experience in business. So in some cases, my speeches are just entertaining. Some are educational. Some are motivational. So it's really just something that I've just been called to do. Like in my heart, like I was scared to public speak, and I was not good at it. So to give you some perspective, when I started Dr. Pepper Park, and actually way back when I started Sponsor Hounds, there was a young man that worked for me named Elliot Broyles. You may know him. He's like a local rock star, and he worked for me for like 9 years. We worked together. He was the vice president, and he's just incredible. He's so extroverted, and he could get up on stage and not prepare a thing and know exactly what to say, and the crowd immediately loved him, and he was fearless. And so that was his thing. I'm like, well, you're good at that, and you're doing that all the time. So when he left, I was stuck doing it, and I was scared to death. I mean, for years, I would just feel physically ill when I had to get up on stage to just announce a band. I have mispronounced national act names. I have mispronounced the city and state that they're from because I was so nervous. So it's interesting that I've chosen this path, but I really like to do things that motivate me and help with my personal growth. And public speaking is something that I've always been afraid of. So I just decided that I was going to hire someone to coach me and tell me how to write speeches and how to deliver them. And she's been incredible. It's been a great experience. And I just had my debut speech at the Rotary Club of downtown Roanoke, and I couldn't have asked for a better group to speak to first, because they were just so kind and so much positive energy in that group. And it was a wonderful experience. I thought that I would be really nervous, but I wasn't. And I sort of tricked my brain by telling myself, like, I'm excited every time that I wanted to think or say out loud, I'm nervous. And then, because apparently studies show that your body sort of manifests both of those emotions the same way, but they're different outputs for how your body reacts to it. So if you keep saying you're nervous, that's the same level of excitement, but it's negative energy. So I just kept saying I'm so excited. So I convinced myself that I was excited versus nervous. And even though when I got up there, I could really hear my heart beating in my ears, so loud. But you know what they say, never let them see you sweat. So I delivered my first speech, and there are some things that I would definitely do differently, but overall, I was really pleased, and I think it's going to be great. I made so many connections. I had a couple of people come up to me and want to sponsor some things at Dr. Pepper Park, and that was really unexpected. I didn't, I didn't start the business for that purpose, but I just thought that that my story and experience may speak to a lot of people's hearts. And if I could touch lives in that way, that would be really rewarding for me. And also, if I have the opportunity to travel and talk about Dr. Pepper Park and our wonderful community here in the Roanoke Valley, then I think it will drive a lot of interest for people to come and visit here and see the park. We do get so many out of town guests already with the national acts that we bring in. So it'll just be, more lives to touch. And I'm all about, promoting Roanoke and what we do with live music. And, we've got so many great musicians and so many great local musicians around here. We're very, very blessed.
Yeah, and talking to other people, not just for our podcast, but just in general conversation, unless you socialize with some of the people who do a lot of the bigger things around, you don't realize how much of a close community Roanoke is in general.
Yeah, people say it's like a big small town, like, and that's true. And when you're talking to people, it's interesting to see who's connected to who, and Facebook certainly shines a bright light on that, as well as LinkedIn format does. But whenever I've got a couple of people here locally that I call connectors, and every time I'm talking to them about anything, they're so good about, like, hey, I'm going to put you in contact with this person, and do you know that person? And sometimes, I mean, as many years as I've lived here, and I mean, gosh, I guess it's 27 years or more I've lived here. You would think that I would know all the people, but it's interesting that there's so many people that I don't know, but I have an opportunity to connect with through either Grace and Grit or Dr. Pepper Park. And but yeah, everybody kind of knows everyone around here, and that's really nice, especially when you're promoting something, or you're in need of prayer, or you're celebrating something, whatever it is, really our community does come together and rally around each other.
Definitely. As far as if you had to tell somebody what Roanoke is about, as far as not just Dr. Pepper Park, but as far as communities as a whole, um, whether it be businesses, what would you tell people, especially the ones that come from out of town, to go to one of your motivational speeches, or just to Dr. Pepper Park, to find out what made them come, other than to see the venue or who's there.
Well, people are always surprised, when they come to Dr. Pepper Park, if they're from out of town and they've never been here before. I remember specifically in 2020, we stayed open, kept music alive. We worked within the state restrictions that we had, that limited capacity and all the things. And so there were a lot of towns, a lot of cities, a lot of states that did absolutely no live music, didn't do anything, even outdoor venues. But because we were limited to capacity and we have such a large space there, people were able to distance themselves and still enjoy live music, and that was so important mentally. But what I remember about 2020, there are a lot of things I'd like to forget, but there were so many nice memories too. I remember a couple of guys coming up to me and they were like, "Hey, do you own the place?" And sometimes you're like, yes, because you think, they might have a complaint or whatever, but they were smiling so big. I figured they didn't. And they were like, "I don't think you realize like how special this place is. I live in a big city. Like I can't remember where they lived, somewhere in, I think near DC. And they were like, "We don't have anything like this. I mean, the artist is right there in front of you. It's so cool, man. I mean, like, I can't, like, I get to see my favorite artist right here in front of me. Like, it's very, very special." And so that's cool. But I think that people are always surprised when they get to Roanoke, just how beautiful it is. Just how great our downtown is, and how beautiful the mountains are. Even I have a great view at my house, and I feel like I take it for granted. Some days it really catches me off guard, like, whoa, look at that sunset, or whatever it is, look at the clouds, and it'll really make you pay attention. But for the most part, I think I also take advantage of like the beauty of our area. So when people come from outside of the market, I think that's one of the first things they notice is how beautiful it is, how clean our city is, and also that there are so many options for entertainment, so many options of things to do. And sometimes I hear people say negative things that live in town, like, "Oh, there's nothing to do in Roanoke." I mean, there is so much to do there's at least like 5 things every day of the week that you could find to do. Big things, different things, unique. So I'm all about promoting everything that is going on in town. We talk about we promote other concerts. We promote other businesses and what they're doing. But I think the two things that I would say that are most important, that if you want to visit Roanoke, plan to stay more than a day or two, because there are so many options for entertainment and outdoor recreation, that I think you're going to miss a lot if you don't stay more than a couple of days.
Yes, that's definitely true. So I grew up in Franklin County, but I've lived in Roanoke, as well for the last 10 years or so. So I mean, I've been around this area my whole life, and still, realizing I'm missing things.
Yeah. Yeah. There are things to be discovered all the time. And I think that because we're, in the community, we're going to work, we're coming home. Some people don't actively search for things to do. They may happen upon them, but you kind of get in a routine and a rut because, you work here and live here. So I think that when our visitors come here, they're like overwhelmed that there are so many things to do because they're actively looking for things to do. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there are things to be discovered. I think, all the social media platforms have certainly helped to build a lot of awareness for things that were really word of mouth before. And now they're getting a lot more promotion, and, a lot of people talking about it online. So the people say they have to go, I have to go check that out, or I have to see that next time it comes to town, and I think that's been really a game changer for entertainment in general.
So you were talking about still doing the music and all that, having to follow along with the the restrictions and all that during COVID, all that 2020 and up till now and all that. Was it? I mean, obviously, I'm sure it was, but I mean, was it a little less difficult, or did it make it more difficult, like to get acts in there, or people to show up and all that?
That's a good question. Although it's a year, I don't really want to talk about. I mean, here we are going on, what is this, like the third year that we're almost 3 years in, the
Pretty
third,
close.
the third year. I don't like to really focus on that, but I mean, it was grueling. It really was. Shows were moving They were some tours. It just wasn't feasible for them to come all the way to Roanoke to do one show. Like I mentioned before, most of our surrounding cities were not doing any events. Most of Virginia was not doing any events. So, as you can imagine, like we talked about earlier with routing artists, they have to be coming this way for it to financially make sense for them to load up all their gear, get a tour bus, and drag everybody down here. It's got to make financial sense. So, a lot of artists just, they just threw in the towel. They were like, we're just going to move the whole entire tour to 2021. And so when we moved all of those shows to 2021, we needed to book shows in 2020. So we looked at, what artist will come and do like, a one show deal. So that was mainly like artists from, that were in Nashville or already on the East Coast that were willing to tour and do like a one off show. It was very, very difficult. We were replacing shows, we were moving shows. I mean, heck, Aaron Lewis, I think that show moved 3 or 4 times. And every time that you have to move a date, it's the same amount of work. Like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, that it's really the same amount of work as when you put a show on sale. So, really add to that, the convoluted nature of all of the different restrictions and trying to maneuver through those without, any guidance really, from the state. There's really nobody available to answer questions. If you had a more detailed question, it was a very confusing time. It was quite difficult, but it was important to us that we kept music alive and that we got open as soon as we possibly could, and that we produced shows safely, and that we did everything that the CDC was recommending as far as best guidance for, really, controlling COVID. And with us being outdoors, it was deemed that it was, a lot safer because, it's more when you're in close contact and that sort of thing. So we followed all of the rules. That was a whole different, that was just like running an event in and of itself. Just all of the restrictions and things, all of the precautions that we needed to take. We went above and beyond. So, for example, it wasn't required that we take people's temperature on the way in, but that was just an added measure, an extra layer of protection that made people, feel good about it and also made us feel good about it. So people really didn't mind because they just wanted to come to the show. But as far as attendance, really what I witnessed is that, like, first of all, it was difficult to get the artists to come because it didn't make financial sense for them in many cases. But we did produce the same amount of shows that we had planned to produce in 2020. So just with different artists and a different type of schedule. So our sponsors were very happy, our vendors were happy, our guests were happy. And I'll be honest, we stayed in direct contact with all of our sponsors, and not one of them asked for a reduction in price or any of their money back, because they saw how hard we were trying and that we were still producing the same amount of concerts. And obviously we couldn't control how many people were allowed at the venue because those were, state restrictions. But just staying in contact with them and finding out, like, how is COVID affecting your business? How can we help you? What are you doing? How can we tell people about that? They really appreciated that, and that we were imaging them and all of the new things that we created, like the growler drive-through service and things that we had to do, to really stay in business. So yeah, it was definitely a challenging year, but through that, we really grew as a team, and then also the community really appreciated it so much. We got a lot of new sponsors because of it. We had people come up to us at the show that said, we want to support this venue. We appreciate you staying open. I'm going crazy without live music. This is really helping me mentally and my spirit. So those were the types of things that we were hearing, and we really appreciated those kind words. They were much needed. But then, excuse me, in 2021, we moved a lot of shows in that year. And then I really kind of doubled up our schedule because I was afraid that they would start moving around again. And then I was also afraid that additionally, you know, we'd have shows dropping off and we wouldn't have enough shows to really fulfill like our sponsorship commitment and our commitment to the community. But then when every single show happened, it was a lot of shows. So it was really like, what are we doing to ourselves? Like it was just a lot of shows. And then at the end of the year, we all looked at each other and we were like, it's kind of like a really wild roller coaster ride. You just look at each other and go, you want to do that again? And everybody said, yeah. So we're on board for a great big 2022 and we're really excited about the season.
It definitely sounds like you guys have a lot coming up, a lot going on, and that's always good to hear that that the local businesses in general are still thriving.
Yeah.
Because during all that was rough for everyone. I know myself personally, on top of doing what Tyler and I do, we both work at Firestone. So I was working at Firestone when with all the COVID stuff, and man, just to see things change was just unreal.
And they're still changing, and it's still a challenge. But then I just try to look at the positives. And so during COVID, I wasn't, we were doing all that we could, to stay open. But then I felt bad because like as part of a team at home, my husband and I, we've got goals, we've got retirement goals. And so I wasn't able to contribute to those because we were closed. And I felt very, very guilty, even though it wasn't my fault. And of course, at that time, there wasn't any assistance for my type of business or my type of business structure. So what we did is I started the roofing division for Empire Siding and Windows, and I started selling roofs for my husband, and I was in charge of the roofing division. And so I learned a new trade, and I also learned that I really liked that. And he still continues with roofing as part of what he does, but it's interesting. Everybody really had to do what they had to do during COVID. Never in a million years did I think that my business would be forced to shut, and that without it being my decision. So that was very, very difficult mentally. And I just really need to stay busy. So I went to work with my husband, and I really enjoyed it. I loved meeting with people in their homes and seeing all the different neighborhoods, because I don't really have time to like ride around and look at people's neighborhoods. If I don't have a reason to be there, I'm not there. But it's just really interesting. We've got some really cool communities and neighborhoods around here, and I didn't even know that they were there. So it was a very interesting part of my life, that I'm thankful I had an opportunity to experience that.
I know with the whole COVID thing, there are a lot of people that look at the negative side of that, but I think if you look at the positive side, it not only had people who were in certain positions that either they had to start working from home or the position was eliminated at the time or the business shut down. I think overall it makes people stronger.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to, and you've got to stay positive, because if you don't, you're going to go crazy if you don't say, well, here's what happened good today. There were some things that happened really, really bad in 2020 that I'm still going through as a result of that. But I just try to focus on, the positives and what am I learning from this experience. And one of the things that was pretty cool to me, because so many people were working from home. I mean, everyone's just so busy. Life is just so busy, and there's 17 different ways for people to get a hold of you all the time, and everybody needs a response immediately, and you're just go go go. It's just a different work pace than like I think that our parents had, because of all this technology. Like, yes, technology is great, but then at the same time, you're just available all the time for everyone. And you just stay so busy and you lose contact over the years with old friends because nobody picks up the phone anymore. And so, during COVID, like, a lot of people were struggling, and we were talking about that on Facebook. And I was able to, like, just pick up the phone and have like an hour long conversation with people I hadn't spoken to in years. And neither of us were even realized it had been years until we really slowed down enough to go, what are we doing? Like, what, I mean, like, you're losing friends by being so busy. You're not keeping in touch with people. So, that was something really positive, that happened, that I was able to reconnect with so many people, and that we could talk about what we were going through and what our fears were, and what our triumphs were. And just, whether it was like sharing that you were exercising that day with them and keeping each other motivated to stay active, whatever it was, like, I really saw, a lot of, good in people during a really bad time. So, that's what I choose to remember.
It's great to hear that, you guys did so well, and then, during all that, you guys stayed positive and just kept your head down and kept moving forward no matter what challenges were trying to get in the way, and that the fact that you do so much, but yet you're still very grounded when you're doing it.
Well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't do it by myself. Certainly, like, I couldn't do it without our team at Dr. Pepper Park, and all of the support of our community. So many people were reaching out to us and saying, like, the minute you open, I'm going to be there. A lot of people were encouraging me to break the rules and open, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't break the rules. Like, I don't want to be closed forever. So, we were pleased that we were able to get open as early as we could. But, when they first made that initial announcement, we thought, well, this isn't going to affect us because it'll be warm, by the time we open. And that's what kills the virus, is what they're saying. And so this is going to be like a seasonal flu, and it'll be over. And then it's just not over. But we didn't think, our first thought was for other types of businesses that were being immediately affected, like our downtown Roanoke businesses. And so we organized, a fundraiser called Rock to the Rescue, which was a free concert series that you could watch on Blue Ridge PBS. And we were encouraging people to make donations to our downtown Roanoke businesses. And also, there were options to tip the band. We paid the band to be there, and all of the bands, like all of them, every single band donated their tip money to the downtown Roanoke businesses as well. So it was really more like, we want to make sure that musicians, have a place to play. And that was something that we filmed. There was no audience there. So, but people looked forward to it coming on TV, that they could see their favorite local band that they hadn't been able to go out and see for months. So it was very important for people's, just, mentally, and for their spirit, for them to have live music. That was really important during that time. And we were able to raise some money for downtown Roanoke businesses. But that was our first thought, like, we got to help people. We didn't think that we would need help. We didn't think that that our business would be in peril. We thought that we'd be open, on our regular scheduled date. And then when everybody started canceling their dates and moving their tours, we were like, oh my goodness. And nothing like that has ever happened in the music industry ever before in history. The closest thing was 9/11. And that was one day, as far as it affecting shows and it affecting, artist travel and things like that. Now we're talking about months and months of businesses being affected. But what I can also tell you, in addition to all of our sponsors being amazing, and appreciating, us, staying open and doing the same amount of concerts and keeping our commitments to them. But in addition to that, every single artist, every single one of them did the right thing. they either moved or rescheduled their show, or if they had to cancel because they couldn't reschedule, they gave us our deposit back. Every single person in the whole industry did the right thing. And I think that's huge because, that's a lot of money. You're talking about a whole year that some of these artists didn't make any money at all. Booking agents, people that sell merchandise, people that tour and set up all of the instruments, the production teams, they made no money at all. And even through all of that, they did the right thing with the venues and the promoters. And we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what best practice would be. We didn't have any guidance. So, again, I think about that. I think about people could have done the wrong thing. They could have made demands because there's nothing in a contractual agreement with these artists that protect you from a pandemic. There's nothing. And there's no insurance that you can buy for it either. So there, when it comes to like a legal agreement, they could have very well not done the right thing, but they all did the right thing. And I just think that's wonderful. And that really, speaks volumes, pun intended, about our industry in the music business, is that everybody did the right thing, even though it may not have felt good to them to walk away from that, and we managed to stay in business through it, and thrive, really thrive in 2021. That last year was our biggest year ever.
So, I know we mentioned it earlier, but just to go over it one more time, as far as you said, is it drpepperpark.com?
Yeah, drpepperpark.com. That's our website. And also our ticketing, point of sale. Want to remind everybody, there are lots of scammers out there. There are lots of fraud sites that are on like a Google search, for instance. So please make sure that you get to our website by punching in drpepperpark.com. drpepperpark.com, or you can also go to our Facebook page, Dr. Pepper Park at the Bridges, and the website link will be there. There's also a direct ticket link in the individual Facebook event pages. So if you ever have any questions about where to buy tickets, or if you're on the wrong site or not, please call us at 540-206-2414. That number is everywhere. So if you just search Dr. Pepper Park's phone number, we're available. So if you're ever unsure, we had a lot of because of the level of acts that we're bringing in, we have a lot of fraud sites. So a lot of times people are coming to the show, they think they have a legitimate ticket, and then they're disappointed to find out that they don't. And 10 times out of 10, they're also paying at least double what we are charging for tickets. So that's really like your first clue. Like if you look at it, you're like, these ticket prices seem ridiculous. Like, just give us a call and we'll make sure that you're on the right website.
And do you have a way for people, like as far as your motivational speaking goes, for them to like set up a time or set up something with that?
Absolutely. You can check out WaynettAnderson.com. So it's my name, WAYNETTE, Anderson.com. And the name of the company is Grace and Grit.
All right. Thank you so much for all that. Thank you for talking with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. Much for Tyler.
I'm kind of the silent partner.
Well, you're doing a great job. I don't know what you're doing behind the scenes. Well, I appreciate you all inviting me. It's always a pleasure to talk about what we do, what our team does at Dr. Pepper Park. And we hope that you'll come out and enjoy a music experience there, or perhaps a festival like the Roanoke Wing Fest. And we've got more big announcements coming up. So just make sure you like us on Facebook. And we also have an email list that you can sign up for that's free at drpepperpark.com. And then you'll be the first one to know about shows, and you can buy tickets before they go on sale. So make sure you do that too.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for your time. I know you're very busy.
Well, I'm never too busy to talk to you guys, so I hope that I have the chance to come back on again soon. And I wish you all the best with the podcast. And thank you so much.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you back on.
All right, y'all have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
You too.
All right,
All right.
bye.
Bye bye.